Salutations Space Cadets, and thank you so much for landing back on my channel. For today's mission, we have the patch note for November 28th, 2023 for DC Dual Force. And this time we have a big one regarding balance changes that people have been clamoring about for a long time. And there's like 40 changes, so there's really not going to be a huge TLDR. I'll go over some gist of it. It's like some of the biggest hits and stuff like that. And then after that, we'll go in more depth talking about each change. So if you're interested in that, stick around. And hey, if you like these type of content, make sure you like it. And we'll be doing more of this in the future. But without further ado, let's get into it. So first and foremost, the TLDR-ish, for the people that have been really wondering, has Batman and Aquaman been nerfed substantially? And I would say so. They haven't been hit like necessarily directly, but the cards around them have been hit, which still I feel like is a sufficient change. Things such as Bandage has gone down from healing 3 to healing 2. Same thing for the upgraded Bandage. It now does 2 base and then still gets the +1. And then we have what was the other one? Tear Gas now only works until the end. I mean, until your next turn. So you activate Tear Gas, it goes -2, and then when it comes back to your turn, it goes back to what it was before it got Tear Gas, which is kind of crazy. And then on the Aquaman side, a bunch of the sea creatures have lost health in some spots, like Seahorse and Whale and Anglerfish all lost points of health as well. So for the people that are really clamoring for Batman and Aquaman changes, you got them, and I'd say they're pretty decent there. For the people who are wondering if Appetite got changed, unfortunately no. They did a few things to help circumvent the loss to Appetite, but also kind of reversed it as well. Liberty Bell went back down to 1 health, which is unfortunate, so now it goes back to dying Appetite. But for Batman Who Laughs Leader, the Rabbit Robin now has 2 health, so it won't auto die 2 in Appetite, which is also nice. So it looks like they're still on the fence of nerfing Appetite. I would like to see a nerf, but unfortunately they haven't done that as of yet. And something like Ladama has gotten changed as well, if people are worried about Ladama. It now takes 3 golds in order to trigger Ladama. It pretty much hurts pretty much every Tyranny deck other than the Tactics one. The Tactics one, it does obviously hurt it as well, but they have things like Paco, so it makes it just a slight bit easier to get Ladama off a little bit earlier than usual. But every other Tyranny type deck that wants to look for Ladama, now they have to pay 3 golds first and then still play Ladama afterwards, which can be pretty crazy. But those were like the hugest changes, I would say, the ones that are, you know, the headlines, I would say. But we're going to get into what the headlines actually are and then go into the full patch, so stick around if you want to know my thoughts on it. Alright, so now, first and foremost, the Wonder Woman Witching Hour comic is now live. It provided the card, the Witching Hour itself. So the Witching Hour sets a leader's max health to 13. Now this can also be your leaders as well. So say for instance you get knocked down all the way down to 2 HP from like a Flash Doomsday type situation. Well, you can bring your health all the way back to 13. So it does heal all that health you're missing and sets it to 13. So whatever it's at, either it's higher or lower, it'll go all the way to 13. Oh, I should also mention, there's, for the people in the TLDR phase, there was some Flash Doomsday changes, kind of. Not anything for Doomsday, lost some health. Flash is the same, but they got rid of a lot of direct to face things like John Stewart and Energy Blast as well. Those only hit recruits now, so those are a little bit of changes for the Flash Doomsday for people that are wondering as well. But yeah, the Witching Hour has been nice. There's a lot of implications you can do with that. So that Zod Doomsday deck that I was doing, that if you're the whole point is to get the leader to at least 17 health, and then Zod Doomsday should be able to finish them off with 17 damage provided from 10 from Doomsday and 7 from Zod. So if you're already setting their max health to 13, you already meet that threshold by just activating 1 single card on there. So no matter how much HP you have, you're killing anything that's on your Zod side, unless they have an aura unit to block or a guard unit to stall you out as well. So it gets pretty crazy with that one. There's a bunch of different implications that you can use with the Witching Hour. Like I said, you can heal yourself with it, you can lower them down with it, it can fit in a bunch of different decks and OTK opportunities. Cyborg gets a little bit stronger because, you know, Cyborg Ivy is already, the whole plan is to either one-shot you with Cyborg, which will already make it easier because they're already down to 13 HP at the beginning, or, you know, with the Ivy plans already taking out your max health through drawing as well will already do that. So or if you want to make it a little bit harder for your opponents to make efficient trades, you can just play this on your first silver turn, and every trade that they do here on and here out, it makes it a little bit tougher. And you can also maybe consider doing Poison Kiss as well. If you're already putting them down to max 13, you put a Poison Kiss, it already makes that clock go down even faster, and Poison Kiss is also max health damage, so there's a lot of max health damage going on here. Now, I don't really know if this comic is free or not for everyone. Like, it's a silver tier, and that'll eventually turn into a gold tier. But if not, do keep in mind it is a super rare. So if you're really interested in it, first off, I would wait to see how it shakes up, let it breathe a little bit, see how relevant it is, and then it'd be kind of hard to consider crafting because it's super rare, but you'll have no other way of earning it other than a comic, so you're not going to pull it, so it might be valuable in order to craft. We're going to do a before you craft, literally probably sometime this week or like early next week, before we get the next mini set, so look out for that as well. Now, let's go over the balance changes themselves. Now, we're going to go one off another. Some of these are going to be rapid fire. Some of them we're going to go a little bit more in depth with. Like I said earlier, Doomsday now has 22 health instead of 24. A little bit easier to kill. It was tied for the most health in the game with Superman, which was kind of crazy. It made sense, but considering how Flash Doomsday played out, yeah, you didn't want it to be harder to kill the dude that was going to do 10 damage to your face. Then we have Wonder Woman leader is now 22 health instead of 21. I mean, sure, I guess she needed it. I guess I thought Wonder Woman was fine enough. She's sure she wasn't played a ton, but she was fine enough. Lex Luthor, now that's a leader I play a lot, especially with my favorite deck being Shazam Lex Luthor, so I can do the Flash recruit over and over again. Yeah, so that goes one extra health point. I think it got reduced to 18 a while back, and it looks like they bumped it back up, which is nice. Black Adam leader is now 24 health. Now it is tied for the most health in the game with Superman. Hal Jordan leader now reads it gets 5 attack and then has the same rest of the effect, which generates a bronze, which is just extra damage. I mean, I don't know if that really fixes any core issues with lanterns themselves, but no harm for giving it a 5 attack now. Dude, Hal Jordan does so much. It's so weird how lanterns aren't good, because Hal Jordan does so much. Gets 5 attack, generates you a free lantern at the start of the game, and generates you a bronze resource when you activate it. Like, I don't know how that leader is considered bad still. I don't know. Batgirl leader now reads, she gets +4 attack instead of +3 attack, which is even more nice. And as you know, one of my most prolific decks you're going to see a little bit later on in this week, Mighty Girl, is going to get even better with these things, and some other changes that are going to be happening. Then we have the Batman-centric changes. Tear Gas now give him a recruit -2 attack until your next turn. That one is kind of crazy, dude. Oh, like, it only works for 1 turn, so you're only pretty much getting the value if you're trading. Like, you're like, oh, I need to trade here. Let me do -2 damage right here. I mean, I guess it makes sense. You're blinding him so you can get him an attack right then and right there, but Jesus, that's crazy. And the same thing happens with upgraded Tear Gas. It's still until the next until your next turn, which is that one. I hate Batman a lot. Okay, but that one seems a little harsh. But hey, it works for me. I don't play Batman that much. Then we have Bandage, heals 2 instead of 3. Kind of crazy. And then upgraded Bandage does 2 instead of 3, but still gives the +1 max health. But Jesus Christ, yeah. So it looks like a little bit more healing. You're trying to finally rush down Batman. You're just about to kill him. Oh, sorry, I got like 50 bandages from between Alfred and activating Batman a bunch of times, and you're just like, well, guess we're gonna have to do this thing again, and they're free, so it's not like they have to pay like a gold in order to heal 10 like you had to do with Begin Anew. But yeah, another interesting change. So yeah, I feel like Batman is overall weaker, obviously, and hopefully he doesn't feel as omnipresent as he was before. I mean, obviously they're never going to destroy Batman because he is one of the poster children of DC. I mean, I was lean more towards Superman. But I guess Batman is number one. Then we have La Dama. The Dama now deploy if you paid at least 3 goals. Slight typo there. Other goals this game KO all enemy recruits. La Dama was crazy. One of my just most least favorite cards. I freaking despise Tyranny because all it does is just board wipe you almost every turn, and you're just like, oh yeah, board wipes, culling, massacre, yeah, Ladamas that you can bounce back to your hand and replay them. Yeah, I love Tyranny. Oh, Appetite for Conquest, negating like 1/3 of my deck sometimes, depending on what faction I'm playing. Yeah, Darkseid destroying a whole space you have. Sure, bro. Randomly make Brainiac 6/7 now for some reason. Yeah. Okay, but at least now it costs 3, so it's pretty much harder for every other faction, or like every other leader or faction combination other than the Tactics one. The Tactics one probably still won't have a huge trouble getting the Dominant to work, but every other faction is going to get punished by this, and thank the Lord. We were playing a couple of games after the patch went live, and we pretty much lost because my opponent was playing Tactics, they had Paco, and I couldn't get my Ladama target in time, and they board wiped me 2 times. So Ladama's still something, but yeah. Then we have Friends in High Places. I was saying this Friends in High Places is like secretly one of the best cards in the game. No one really mentions it. It's a common that pretty much everyone has. It can seek a gold recruit, especially with Tyranny, which has a lot of, like those key gold cards such as Darkseid and Ladamas and stuff like that, and you can just search them out. Or if you're playing in another faction, obviously you can find something like Superman and things like that, and it gives them +3/+3 on top of all of that. You're just like, that is so much value in just that one card. It's crazy. So they made it +2/+2 instead of +3/+3. I mean, it's not going to make a huge difference, but there's going to be some cases where that's going to really help out. Then we have John Stewart in the efforts to nerf Flash Doomsday just a bit. John Stewart now reads, you may pay a bronze to deal damage equal to John Stewart's attack to an enemy recruit. No longer being able to hit any character, or not any character, but any enemy character. Instead, and now it only hits recruits. Works for me. I didn't really mind that. Didn't really play Lantern. Didn't really play John Stewart. But one that I am sad about is Energy Blast. Energy Blast now reads deal 4 to an enemy recruit as well. So they got that same hit. Energy Blast, I loved Energy Blast. I love that it could hit leaders as well. It's nice. Sometimes it comes in clutch. It really helps sometimes. Now, it's unfortunate that it had to pay for Flash Doomsday sins. So I totally get it, and it's understandable. Change. It's not like this is some BS or anything like that. It's understandable, but I just love that Energy Blast could sometimes hit the leaders, man. But it's fine. I guess you shouldn't just be able to go over the top of everybody and then do like 9 damage for free between Lightning Arc and Energy Blast, or 8 damage for Hellblaze, and so I guess Hellblaze is only 6 damage when you combine it with old Energy Blast. But guess we'll just hold the L. Then we have Disorganized Crime. Now reads, each friendly Arkham inmate makes a bonus attack at random. Adrenaline, give them +2/+2. You may be wondering, what changed? Well, what changed was, it is now permanent +2/+2. And before, it was just until the end of the turn. So that one's crazy. Now, another one that I think is potentially crazy here is Laugh It Up. Laugh It Up now reads, discard your hand. At the start of your next turn, draw 3 cards instead of drawing 2 cards. That is already crazy. Combine that with Harley, and you draw 4 cards next turn. It's kind of crazy. You get the Adrenaline off of Harley, then you draw 3 from Disorganized Crime, not Disorganized Crime, Laugh It Up, and you draw the card for the Harley Adrenaline. So that's 4 cards you draw. So there's some nice little nudges for the discard support you're going to see later on. Then we have Up, Up, and Away. Now reads, give your recruits with shield +4 attack. Now, once again, similar to the Disorganized Crime one, this one is now permanent to your shield recruits. I feel like, you probably want a little bit more defense than you want attack. And it's already kind of hard to set up a bunch of shield units. We were trying to play some shields earlier. The only faction that really has shields is Might. There's only like 1 or 2 cards in the entire game outside of Might that has shields, and that's General Zod and some other cards that and Bizarro. So yeah, it's still going to be hard to pull this off. I feel like we're going to need a little bit more shield support, not that I want it, because shield is very annoying. But once we get a little bit more support with that, especially outside of Might, then I feel like Up and Away might be something that you consider. Then we have another card that's never played, and that's Lead from the Front. Now reads, give a friendly leader shield, didn't do that before, 7 attack, used to be 5, and swap them to the space in front of them. Now, my boy Lore Swamp, as you guys all know, we featured their decks multiple times, and they're a good friend of the channel, my Dual Force bestie. They played a deck with Flash, with Lead to the Front, buff up Flash, and double attack and get that lethal in. Like, just imagine Flash with 9 attack, 2 from its ability obviously, and then the 7 from Lead from the Front, and then you double attack and do 18 damage, and you're like, oh, I guess I'm dead. I think they also did it with maybe Candle Neuron or something. No, maybe it's not, because it's Lead from the Front and Might, so it was Might Tactics or Might Energy. So I forgot what the exact combo was, but that you could also have Iris as well to help you with that, to make it invincible as well. Then you also have Power Surge, which can make it even crazier. So Power Surge will put you to what, plus 10 attack, so you'll have 12 attack that can attack twice, so 24 damage to a leader potentially. Could be something there, but something huge for the shield package. Lowest Lane now reads, after you deploy a recruit with shield, draw a card and charge your Superman leader. You might be like, what changed? Once again, think about the fine details here. Lois Lane used to say, the first time you do it this turn, you get all that other stuff. Now she's like, whenever you play a shield unit, so you could play Lois, then you could play what's his name, Superman Robot, Jimmy Olsen, get 2 charges off of Superman, draw 2. Or if you for instance play a Fitting Mentor hit Lois Lane, you can play Lois Lane and she'll draw off of herself pretty much, which is crazy to also think about. So Superman, you might see a Superman charge almost every other turn, maybe even every turn in some cases. But like I said, we need a little bit more shield support for it to be a consistent thing. We tried a lot over the course of today, and it was still kind of hard because I would keep drawing the Lois Lane part, but I wouldn't draw the shield part. So it gets kind of rough, and it feels it's kind of hard to play a Fitting Mentor, because if you're playing a bunch of the bronze shield package early, then your Fitting Mentor could just hit them, and then you get no value off your Fitting Mentor other than you drew a card, I guess. You thinned your deck a little bit, but you don't get that value of the shield added to it, so it gets a little bit hard. I wish it would say, draw a unit that doesn't already have shield and give them shield. That would be sick, but I doubt they do that. Then we have Talia Al Ghul now reads, 4 health goes up from 3. Nice. Can't go wrong. Maybe it's more of a slot in for your Black Adam decks. People sometimes don't run Talia. Maybe you do a little bit more so you can help your Black Adam live a little bit longer. Even, you know, that card that we talked about, the Witching Hour, could go a little bit better going over there at the Witching Hour. Like if your Black Adam gets low, you can pretty much heal it back to 13. So, you know, and then you have the Parting Shot. Obviously, if it's your max health is now 13, you already have 13. The Parting Shot does nothing anymore. But still, Chip now reads, deploy. You may pay a bronze to give Chip and a random Green Lantern in your hand +2/+1. I think it was +1/+1 prior. So, I mean, extra attack. I guess that makes John Stewart a little bit more valuable. Gets that little bit of a buff in a way. But it only hits recruits, so I mean obviously that's helpful, but it's not 9 damage to face helpful. Then this one's a really interesting change. Cosmic Staff now reads, give a friendly recruit firepower +1, same thing, but generate a silver instead of generate a bronze. So now it just pays for itself. Slap that on maybe like a hidden thing. I don't know. Maybe you're playing Zatanna Joker like we tried out today. You play hidden on your Solstice or something. Give it firepower. then it's likely to live. There's nothing really in the game that kills it unless they're using Hellblade's Earthquake type situation, or Massacre, or Ladamas obviously, but it's likely to live. Then you get some Joker effect or some burn thing, and you get plus firepower, and that's going to stick a little bit. Or you put it on an aura unit, such as the Wizard Shazam, and also do that hidden play that I was talking about, and then you have firepower, and it's even harder to kill something like that. Or even like you put it on a Captain Atom. How are you going to kill that Captain Atom, bro? And it's going to have firepower just on it constantly. Cosmic Staff. Now that one is definitely worth experimenting with, alright? Now another huge change, I would say, is Madame Xanadu now has Hidden. They gave Hidden to Madame Xanadu. What the heck? So now you're guaranteed pretty much to get 2 magical spells off of Madame Xanadu. She's already in the turn get a magical spell, so you're already instantly getting value off of Madame Xanadu, and then she's hidden on top of all that, meaning that she'll get it at least activate the next turn unless you get cullinged. Like, bro, that's crazy. Obviously a little bit less protection right off the bat, but like you're getting 2 free spells. Especially if you're playing that Explosion deck that I featured on the channel not too long ago, where you're just trying to farm every spell you possibly can and see if you can hit some of the free ones. That one's crazy. Then we have Cranial Explosive. Now read sacrifice a recruit to give your Suicide Squad recruits everywhere +2 attack. Now I thought it was like before it said you have to sacrifice a Suicide Squad recruit, but apparently it always said you can do any recruit. But the thing that changed was now it's everywhere. So that goes for the ones in your hand, the ones in your deck, the ones you summon in the future, like the ones you spawn off of Amanda Waller, and the ones that are already on your board. All just get permanent +2 attack for free after you sacrifice one, and it already synergizes with the Suicide Squad members. So that one makes Suicide Squad just a tad bit better. I don't know if that puts it over top. Really, they're having so much attack. So if you get hit and tagged by one Suicide Squad member, you're gonna die. But they don't really have the health to match it, which is kind of rough for them. So, but that one's huge for them. Now here comes the Aquaman changes. So we have Giant Anglerfish now a 3/2 instead of a 3/3. Now at least it'll still be able to buff itself with 1 Hippolyta for those Aquaman players, and you still only need 2 Aquaman triggers to do it by itself. That's still nice. Doesn't mess with Mirror, Mirror, it can help out with Mirror now. Still, not now, but it already did, but it didn't even lose that ability to do so. Humpback Whale, we all love spawning whale every 2 seconds, every activation of Aquaman. So now it has base 1/6, so basically it's a 1 or a 2/7 prior to a 2/8. A little bit more killable. Sometimes you don't want to see your opponent spawn whale because you're just about to kill him, and then they put a giant whale in front of their leader, and you're just like, whoa, I guess I'm screwed. Then we have Storm the Seahorse, now a 0/2 instead of a 0/3. Now that means a lot more bronzes can kill Storm. Obviously, base, it's going to be a 0/3, I believe, right? Or like a 1/3, there we go, when you summon it off of Aquaman. But I guess, hey, it comes in, if you're playing Throne of Atlantis, damn, you've got a 0/2 now, instead of a 0/3. Unfortunate for your Throne of Atlantis enjoyers. But yeah, Storm the Seahorse should be a little bit more easier to kill in a lot of cases, so that's a nice needed touch to Aquaman. We're actually uploading a few Aquaman related videos in the near future, so I mean, I don't feel like it impacts it that much, but I don't think it makes the decks that I was showing off obsolete, but it definitely is a hit. Then we have Thomas Wayne Batman, is now a 2/5 instead of a 3/5. That was I feel like that's one of the like top 20 best cards in the game. It's a hidden that ramps up that you can't really kill with anything. Like by the time you play it, it probably already has enough attack to not die to culling and things like that. So it's nice to see Batman Thomas Wayne get a touchdown. It won't make a huge difference, but it's still, if they can ever make a change where it's just take a point off of something and it really not destroy the card, then you might as well do it. If it's a really good card that has been, a meta threat at some point, Then we have Alfred, also another Batman type nerf, which is now it's a 1-2 instead of a 2-2. So those times where you're getting the value off of Alfred where you're drawing, and you're getting the bandages, and then sometimes when you're like, oh, I'm done with Alfred, let me just sack him off in order to kill one of your things. Probably not happening pretty much ever now. There's not really a ton of things that Alfred will be able to crash into that you're playing, likely. So that's nice. That's a nice little thing. Now, apparently in their metrics, John Diggle was secretly OP, or like secretly good. And that was, now it's a 1-3 instead of a 2-3, making it ramp up even all the much slower. A lot of people weren't playing Diggle, but there's a lot of things that trigger Diggle that people didn't really realize. Now, people really kind of associate Diggle with things that you generate in your hand, but things such as like a Eugene Choi or a Shazam also buffed up John Diggle, because it just says create an action or something. I think it said create an action that you didn't already have in your hand or something like that, or not even in your hand, just to create an action. And now it's going to take a little bit harder to ramp up. So people were barely kind of playing John Diggle, but now maybe they just might not play him at all. But he was secretly good this whole time. Speedy is now a 3-2 instead of a 3-3. Sometimes after you play Speedy, you're like, dang, I just need, if it had just one less health, you know, kill it, please, Speedy, die. But now it's going to be slightly easier to kill Speedy. A lot of times Speedy's summoned the same turn and it kills itself off in the same turn. So it's not always going to be relevant, but like I said earlier, if you can just take a point off health of a good card and it still be viable, sometimes just do it. And I think Speedy's one of those. Liberty Belt, what I'm sad about is it went back to a 3-1 from a 3-2, man. Why? Not my Liberty Belt, man. Why? Why'd they do that, man? Sometimes she just lived a little bit longer. I like that. I blame Flash Doomsday. I blame you, man. Now they're gonna die to a Batarang again. Stupid Flash Doomsday, bro. Then we have Rabid Robin that is spawned off Batman Who Laughs. Is now a 3-2 instead of a 3-1. Doesn't automatically die to Appetite for Conquest. Unfortunately, Appetite for Conquest is still a card that exists in the game, so it's still annoying, and it can activate 2, so it would still die to second Appetite. But hey, they're not going to draw that, right? They'll only ever draw 1 Appetite. So, you know, it's still nice. It makes it a little bit more viable. Now, this one's pretty nice. This one's pretty nice. The Joker Recruit is now a 6-5 instead of a 6-3. So now it will live just a slight bit longer, which is nice. Means you can get more damage off on your opponent's leaders, and he counts himself too. So if you kill the Joker Recruit, he also will still do 3 damage to you. So you gotta be watching out with those trades when Joker is now a 6-5. Now then we have Embrace Madness. So this is the one where if you discard a card, it buffs all the recruits in your deck +2. It now went from a bronze to a free card. Now that's kind of crazy. This is a part of the discards buff that I was speaking about earlier in the video, and you can just freely get value if we go in tandem with Lord Deathman here. That is now a 3-3 instead of a 2-2. So you could just freely play Embrace Madness and instantly get Lord Deathman value right off the bat with no additional cost to you. And just get +2/+2 to, or not +2/+2, but +2 to all of your recruits in the board, in your deck for the rest of the game. Then we have Peacemaker. Now this one I'm excited about. As you know, we upload that Hunter deck relatively often. And Peacemaker is one of the biggest hurdles. Well, it was a 5-1. It died to Batarang. And it doesn't even benefit off itself. Still doesn't benefit off itself unless you redeploy it with Batgirl. That's going to come soon, by the way. Now it's a 5-4. So a lot more likely that it at least lives at least 1 turn. So then you can potentially redeploy it off of Batgirl. And if you can do that, then it'll be done being exhausted, meaning that you can swing in for 10 damage to a leader. that one's a lot more likely now. Of course, a lot of your setup cards die anyway. I've played the reason why Black Lightning is not played a lot is for some reason your opponent always finds a way to kill your thing, no matter how much health it has. And your Black Lightning usually dies before you can even cast one time. So, you know, might be the same thing with Peacemaker, but there's still going to be those every so often where it comes out. Then we have Mordru, now a 7/10 instead of a 7/8. That's the one where you sacrifice a recruit with 5 or more, and at I think end of turn you get a magical spell in hand. Now it's interesting. You might want to play this in a Black Adam deck, because the 7/10 is way likely for it to live, and you'll probably have 5 attack things that are higher in your Black Adam deck. So you might want to play that. I still don't know if you want to play that in any other type of deck. Like, I don't think you ever just really want to sacrifice a unit that's 5 or more attack just to generate a magical spell that you can't even control. If it says Seek at the end of the turn, no, that's goated. That's a good change. But I mean, I don't know. More Drew stonks may have gone up by like 0.1. 0.1 stocks on Mordru. Let's go. Now this one I hate. I hate this change. Mercy Graves is now a 2/4 instead of a 2/3. Mercy Graves was like top 3 most hated cards in the game for me. Maybe top 5. I freaking despise Mercy Graves. Oh yeah, I'm doing this nice temple thing. I'm playing a 2 resource game. Oh, half my resources are gone this turn. Okay. Oh, it's double silver turn. Sorry, actually you only have 1 silver turn. Freaking Mercy. And now she's gonna be even harder to kill. Like, no. It's so sad. Now your Batman's not killing it with well, obviously all Batman players find the Batarang once they need it, so they're probably not gonna have any trouble with Mercy. Your Wonder Womans can't kill it. Flash will take 2 attacks on it, and oh god, it's annoying. It's whatever. I mean, you know, it's something we gotta deal with. But why they changed Mercy, bro? I hate that. Amanda Waller, now a 3/2 instead of a 1/2. Got +2 attack. And then, you know, obviously the Suicide Squad is all about buffing their attack, it looks like. So already Amanda Waller is a hidden, so she just might just come out the gates swinging. You don't want to mess with Amanda Waller, especially after it has +2 additional attack. Then we have Samar Lay, now a 2/3 instead of a 3/1. You pay a bronze and then your thing dies to a Batarang or a Harvey Bullock or something like that, and or a freaking Amethyst. Freaking ambush bug, and you're just like, all right. So now Samarley is a lot more likely to live at least a turn, possibly, you know, especially if the construct lands in front of Samarley. Even more likely, a lot of times you can just go over them and kill them, and then you just lose against the construct. But now if the construct lands in front of Samarley, it's a lot more likely that they live, which is sick for those people. Another Hunter buff, Renee Montoya is now a 4/4 instead of a 3/3. We did tech in Renee Montoya in our Hunter deck, because sometimes when your Hunters have chaotic, thanks to Batman Who Laughs, then you play Renee Montoya and all your Hunters have ambush, so it kind of just negates the chaotic part, because usually Hunters do have a lot of attack off a rip, so it's gonna get real dangerous when you have and with Renee also being a 4/4, she becomes dangerous as well. So with Peacemaker, she now does 8 damage to enemy leaders when she attacks directly. Something to keep in mind. And that was the last balance change. There was so many. Look at all of this, bro. That was a ton. And then we'll quickly just go over the gameplay one. Lasso of Truth should now always exhaust a recruit even if you don't move it. General, you can now more easily change to an alternate art version of a leader. Improvements on emote visualization. Don't even know what that means. Fix some resource icon visuals during the tutorial. Fix some UI issues with the deck detail UI. So yeah, a huge balance patch. People have been clamoring for one for a while. I mean, I didn't really necessarily, like, obviously we had a deck we posted that said I hate the meta, but it was just more so it was stale rather than like oppressive. Like, I didn't really feel like anything was necessarily oppressive. It was just like, it was the same good decks for months, and you're just like, please shake it up. and they shook it, bro. This is like a magnitude 69 earthquake right here. Things are shaking, things are rumbling like this Attack on Titan, bro. So yeah, I hope you guys liked the changes. If you did like the video, make sure you like it and comment down below what changes did you like the most. What decks are you excited to try, and is there anything else you would change? Personally, me, Appetite for Conquest, please delete that card from the game. No, just make it minimum 1, honestly. I would love that. But yeah, let me know those things down in the comment section down below. And if you want to help us out, we're about 50% of you guys aren't subscribed to the channel. We're trying to get monetized on the channel. We did 1,000 subscribers for that. So if you could subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that. And last but not least, we do stream Monday through Thursday, sometimes Fridays on the Twitch channel at twitch.tv/AgentXSpacely, or here on the YouTube channel. So whatever platform you prefer, come along. We'd love to have you. Submit your decks. They might even get featured here one day. But hey, that's gonna be all from me. I'll be blasting off, and I'll see you soon, Space Cadets. Wow, that video was pretty good, don't you think? Well, if you do, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you see more just like it. But hey, that's gonna be all from me. I'll be blasting off, and I'll see you soon, Space Cadets.